Alright, gather round folks, because Uncle Three's got a story for you tonight. A real spine-tingler from Penang, Malaysia. This one's going to dive deep into the spiritual roots and ghostly fears that haunt the people of Penang. We're talking about a pretty terrifying demon, a giant one even. To be honest, it feels more like an urban legend, something so wild it's almost hard to believe, even for me. Now our chilling tale kicks off with a gruesome murder back in the year 2000. This happened up on Penang Hill, a place famous for its massive ancient trees. If you're from Malaysia, you'd know these kinds of trees. They're everywhere, especially in spots like Genting Highlands near Kuala Lumpur. Folks often went up there to forage for herbs, mushrooms, plants, and even animals for their traditional Chinese medicine. Well, on that fateful day, a local man, while out searching for these precious herbs, stumbled upon something truly horrific: a human corpse in a terribly mutilated state. The body was torn right in half. The lower half, including the intestines, was there, but the entire upper body, completely gone. Naturally, the man immediately called the Penang police, suspecting a brutal dismemberment. When the police arrived and started investigating, they followed a trail of blood. This wasn't just any blood trail. It led all the way up to the very top of one of those ancient trees. They saw blood splattered on the tree trunk, which made them wonder if some kind of wild animal had eaten the victim and dragged the body up there. So they sent someone to climb up, and what he found was even more disturbing. Fresh blood was still on the leaves, leading to the victim's upper body, hanging precariously from a branch. After this discovery, rumors started flying fast and furious about this bizarre death. How could anyone or anything do such a thing? What kind of animal could rip a person in half and hold the body up a tree? It just didn't make sense. And here's the kicker. There were no signs of the body being eaten. If it were a person, who would be so crazy as to dispose of a body up in a tree? It defied all logic. To be absolutely sure, the Penang police thoroughly investigated every plant and animal species in the area. Their conclusion: there had never been any wild beast capable of such a monstrous act. Let's circle back to our unfortunate victim. He wasn't just anyone. He was a Chinese man who prepared traditional medicine for a prominent Chinese medicine family in Penang. When his family received his remains so incomplete, their grief was profound. But they also had to acknowledge something chilling. This death wasn't caused by a human being. That's right. This Chinese family strongly suspected that his death was connected to the supernatural. The very next day, the family called upon a powerful Taoist priest from Penang. When the priest examined the body, he found something truly bizarre. The victim's soul was missing. Now, in Chinese, and generally across Asia, it's believed that the soul stays near the body for about 49 days after death. So, for this man's soul to be completely absent from his body, that was highly unusual. A priest's job is often like that of a detective for the spiritual world, uncovering mysteries and finding answers for lost souls. This priest would typically try to summon the spirit to ask what happened and who or what was responsible. But in this case, there was no soul to summon. It was as if it couldn't find peace. So the Chinese family, in their quiet desperation, delved into their ancient family books, some dating back 600 years. They were searching for any similar, gruesome events that might have occurred in their history. And that's when they made a shocking discovery. Every 100 years, someone in their family had met a similar, horrifying fate. These victims also suffered terrible accidents, and their souls were nowhere to be found. Digging deeper, the family learned about an ancient spiritual legend, a kind of bogeyman story that Malaysian parents used to scare their children. It always featured a character known as the giant demon. Malaysians don't know where it came from or where it truly resides, only that this terrifying demon comes from hell and appears only once every 100 years on Penang Hill. And anyone who happens to cross its path on that particular day, especially during a rainy afternoon or evening, well, they meet a terrible end. Why rain? It's because when it rains, people naturally seek shelter under the most significant trees they can find. But here's the truly creepy part. The people of Malaysia believe that those massive trees are actually the legs of this giant demon. They're not ancient trees at all, just disguised limbs. When someone stands beneath them for shelter, the demon reaches down, rips the unlucky victim in half, and then, here's the twist, it doesn't eat the body, it only consumes the person's soul. This ancient Malaysian legend was recorded by the Chinese medicine family in their own history. They noted that 600 years ago, when their ancestors first settled there, a similar case occurred. Someone died, torn in half, and their soul vanished. But back then, the Taoist priests didn't believe it. They argued that no demon could be so enormous, and ancient Chinese legends had no record of such a massive creature, one whose leg alone was described as a tree. However, ancient Malaysian texts actually describe this demon in great detail. Its legs are said to be hairy and look precisely like tree trunks. Because of its immense weight and size, its feet sink deep into the ground. That's why people standing under them think they're simply sheltering beneath an old tree. So, while it sounds fantastical for the older adults of Penang, when they heard about the 2000 case, they were sure of it. It was a rainy day, and that poor man had sought shelter under what he thought was a tree, leading to his body being torn apart and his soul taken. The family, down through generations, has warned their descendants that this event will repeat every 100 years. They are absolutely forbidden from venturing into the forest when the time comes. As for trying to stop this giant demon, earlier generations of the family tried to ward it off. They used many powerful spells and talismans to try to seal off the forest, but it seemed to have no effect. No one truly knows who the demon is, or how to predict the exact hour or minute it will appear every century to devour souls. I heard this story straight from the mouths of Malaysians. Even today, with all the tall buildings going up in Penang, people have a better view of that forest. And sometimes, on still, windless days, some folks swear they see the forest shaking violently, as if something incredibly massive is walking through it. So, what do you all think about this tale? Have you ever heard of any similar giants, demons, or spirits in your own culture? Let Uncle 3 know. It's almost like a predator waiting in plain sight, camouflaged by its very nature, striking only when its prey seeks comfort in its deceptive form.